have 10 tips that I'd like to share with you, and these tips are based on my personal experience as a hiring manager, and also I've been an online applicant some time ago. So I hope that these tips will help newbies out there and get your resume noticed by recruiters or hiring managers. Let's get started. Hello there, it's VA Doni once again, and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time, please do not forget to hit that subscribe button and click that notification bell so you will be notified once I have new videos uploaded. So in this video, I will now be discussing about resume writing. So one of the steps, if you want to land a job as a virtual assistant or land a job as an online worker, then one of the steps that you need to do, of course, is to prepare your resume. So the very first tip that I have for you is, number one, keep it simple, clean, and organized. So remember, the resume reflects a lot about yourself, not just your capabilities, not just your skills, but how it generally looks and how it's laid out will already tell the hiring manager or the recruiter of what type, or possibly what type of a worker you are, or how organized you can be. So make sure that my number one tip is keep your resume clean, simple, and organized. Number two is choose a photo that best describes your personality. Remember, the resume, every section or everything that is in that resume will have to tell something about yourself. So in your photo, for me, the reason why we put a photo in our resume is that it kind of will give the hiring manager, the recruiter, the idea of your personality. So as I have now observed for the past few years already, you can actually use a casual photo as long as it's clean, simple. Again, going back to number one, and like I said, it describes your personality. So it doesn't have to be like you're in in your toga, or when you graduated in college, you're wearing your graduation photo, or it doesn't have to be in a tuxedo either. But for me, just use a photo that will best describes your personality. That's it for number two tip. Now let's head on to number three. So again, number three is still related to the number one tip. Use a font, or use one or two fonts only as much as possible. So do not use more than three or more fonts to write the content of your resume, because that will make it look cluttered already, and there's no consistency or uniformity in it. So make sure that you keep it like one or two fonts should be fine. Now we head on to the fourth tip. And this fourth tip is still related to number one. And for this one, it's about alignment and indentions. So make sure that they are, your paragraphs or your sentences are properly aligned, and the indentions are uniform and consistent all throughout your resume, or all throughout the content of your resume. That will make your resume look organized and clean to look at. Now let's head on to my fifth tip. If you are someone who doesn't have an eye for design, then skip those images or too many colors to put in your resume. Instead, just keep it simple. Maybe just a black and white will do, as long as, again, going back to number one, it's simple, organized, and clean. Should be fine. So the resume, again, will reflect about yourself. So make sure that, if you do not have that eye for design, then just keep it simple. So do your best according to how you would reflect yourself in that resume. Because if you try to put it put design to it to make it more look visually pleasing somehow, then it might not look okay to others, especially for someone who has an eye for design. Then that will just be a minus point to your resume. Just my personal opinion. Then better yet, just make it simple then. Okay? Because if the design is not that good, then it will probably make the resume look cluttered. And again, going back to number one, we will always want to make it simple, clean, and organized. We are ready to discuss my sixth tip. Alright, number 6 tip is keep your resume just 2 pages or 3 pages the most. So more than 3, I will not recommend that anymore. So make sure that you fit everything in 2 pages. If everything can fit, if the 2 pages will not fit everything, all essential information in that 2 pages, then 3 the most should be fine. Unless, of course, again, there's an unless. If you're like applying in a large organization and you're like going to their website and they have like a career page in there, and it's like I said, it's a large company already, like global company, a known company, then it's okay to have more than 3 pages, and making sure that all the information in your resume, the content of your resume will be written. We have what we call applicants tracking system, or they call ATS. So a lot of large industries or a lot of large companies, they make use of this system for them to easily filter thousands of resumes that will come into their system, just based on they have like keywords that they look for, and that system will like scan that resume. So if you want to have a higher chance that your resume will get into their system and will be accepted and will be like marked as qualified based on the ATS or the scanning of that ATS system, then you will want to make sure that everything, like keywords, everything will be in that resume. So it's possible that you may need to have more pages in your resume for your resume to be scanned by the ATS system and be noticed, or will be tagged as a good or a yes, and will be included in the file for review in that particular large company. But if you're okay, now for my 7th tip, make sure that you do not prepare just one resume. I would suggest to have one general resume, wherein that resume will have everything, all work experiences that you've had. Then it will be in that one general resume. And aside from that, make sure that you also have like targeted type of resume, or for a specific niche, or if you have a particular set of skills that is necessary or essential for a particular niche, then make sure that you have a separate resume for that. Like I mentioned earlier, before this, make sure that your resume will not go over 2 pages, right? So if you have you do not need to put all the information about all the work experiences from day 1 of the, from job 1 up to job 20. So basically that might need more pages. So that's why make sure that when you're writing a resume, do not just stick to one. Make sure that you also craft, or you also write resume depending on the niche, or depending on a different skill set for that specific niche that you can apply to. Say for example, I myself, I am an operations manager. So I have a set of work experiences and skills that are just essential for my experience as an operations manager. So I would write a resume just focused on that niche or focused on that set of skills that I have for an operations manager experience or role. And at the same time, I also have I am also a customer service manager. So I have a different, again, a separate resume just for customer service work experiences and applications also related for that specific skill set for a customer service manager. So at the same time, I can also do social media and other graphics. So I have another resume just focused on that skill set as well, so that when I apply for jobs and like for example, there's a job post and it's for a customer service related job, then I do not need to use the general resume that I have. I can just use the resume for my customer service experiences and use that to submit or apply for that specific customer service related job. But at the same time, if the job is for like a social media manager or social media marketing, something like that, then I can just use the resume I created just for the skills that I can present to the hiring manager related to social media, like having to prepare my graphics or editing graphics, something like that, or posting content. So the bottom line is, make sure that you do not stick to just one resume. Make sure that you can that one general resume, you can break them down into different or specific skill set, because that will actually make it easier for your resume to be noticed by the hiring manager, because the hiring manager will be able to see that the information he or she needs right away in that resume that you submitted, because the hiring manager sees what he would like or she would like to see in that resume only. So make sure that you have 2 or more resumes, and each resume will have to have different skill set. So you use or you submit the resume depending on the job post that you are applying for. My 8th tip has something to do with the content of the resume already. So make sure when you write your resume, only include this. For me, okay, personally as a hiring manager and also an online worker who had prepared my resume too. So I normally just use these 5 sections. These are the core, like the core sections that I just apply or I just use in my resume. Okay? Nothing else. Number 1, of course, you need to have your profile or your objective. So you will want to let the hiring manager know what your objectives are, and somehow make sure that your objective is tailored or somehow will give the impression to the hiring manager that you are a fit for that specific job post. Okay? Next, of course, the next section is your work experience, of course. Make sure that you have your work experiences listed. Number 3 is your education. Although, for quite some time, I've observed that education has not been like a big factor that hiring. Well, in my case, in my experience, I've not been really minding the education background, but it is still essential for others. So make sure that you still include that, the educational background. And number 4 is the list of skills that you have. That's very important. And number 5 is the list of softwares or applications that you know or you're knowledgeable of using, or you have had experience using, or is an expert of. So make sure that you list them. So again, those 5 sections, very important. First, the profile or the objective. Next is the work experience. Third is the educational background. Fourth is the list of skills. And then 5th is the list of softwares of applications that you know how to use or you have had experience using. Only those. Okay, so there's no need to put references. And what else? Somehow the trainings will, if you've had like trainings before, it can, but most of the time, well, in my opinion, it didn't matter a lot for me. So just those 5 sections, it should be fine. Well, just for me, okay? Now on to my 9th tip. So my number 9 tip is use keywords tailored to the job post you're applying for. So remember the previous tip about those sections that I mentioned that should be included in your resume? When you write those sections, make sure that you are using keywords that will catch the attention of the hiring manager immediately. So say for example, the manager is looking for someone who has experience with a particular application, something like that. Make sure that in those sections, that application is always mentioned. And say or express how you've used that, or how effectively you've used that application before in a previous work experience. So make sure that you use important or necessary keywords for the hiring manager to easily see and easily see that you're someone who has experience for a specific requirement that they're looking for. And finally, my last tip, and of course, do not forget to put your contact information, and make sure that those contact information are regularly and frequently checked. Okay, because you don't want to be, you don't want to miss that call. When you're like shortlisted and someone would like to interview you, and then you did not check your phone, you did not check your email or your Skype. So, and then you missed having that opportunity. So make sure that your contact information is updated and regularly checked. Okay, so that's my last tip. So there you have it. Those are my 10 tips in writing your resume. So I hope those tips will help you and will actually work for you. And I guess that's it. If you have any questions or any suggestions at all about resume writing, please do not forget to write down your questions in the comments, and I will be happy to get back to you and make sure that I am helping in any way I can. So good luck and happy job hunting. Bye-bye.